Hello, my dear friends. In this video we will discuss the most important events that have taken place over the past 12 hours. First, let's talk about the South Donbass direction. Russian forces continue to try to cut off this fortified point from supply and support, which sooner or later will force the Ukrainian troops to either retreat from the villages on this territory or be surrounded. Thus, we can expect further development of the situation in this very direction. In addition, according to various sources, after gaining a foothold in the settlement of Novocherkasskoye, Russian forces have started testing Ukrainian defenses in the next settlement to the north, Skud. We will likely get the first updates from this area in the coming days. Now let's move on to the Bogatyrsky direction. Today, pro-Ukrainian cartographers, sources connected to the Ukrainian state confirmed that Russian forces have taken control of more than 75% of the village. However, the Ukrainian side claims that some areas are still being fought over and remain disputed. This means that, according to the Ukrainian military's version, armored resistance continues there. In addition, we received geolocation data from the settlement of Andriivka, which allowed us to correct the map in the western part of the settlement. According to the information published by the Ukrainian side, almost the entire territory of Andriivka is now under the control of Russian forces. The western part still remains a gray zone, but it is likely that in the coming days the Russian Defense Ministry will confirm full control over this area. In any case, the situation for the Ukrainian forces in Kostiantynivka remains extremely difficult. Most likely, in the coming days, Russian forces will take measures to encircle the settlement and force the Ukrainian forces to retreat. Otherwise, they may find themselves encircled, repeating the fate of the Ukrainian units blocked earlier in Dakhny and the Ugledar area. Then we move on to the Pokrovsky direction. Yesterday, Russian units, as reported in the evening bulletin, knocked Ukrainian forces out of most of Lysovka, blocking their previous advances. Moreover, they took control of territories that previously did not belong to Russia. However, the situation remains tense. The Ukrainian Armed Forces do not stop trying to organize a breakthrough, as evidenced by the activation of Ukrainian aviation, which uses planning bombs to strike Russian positions. It is also known about significant Ukrainian forces inside the Pokrovskaya agglomeration. Therefore, there remains a high probability of a strike towards Selidov or west of the city. Russian units on the northern facet of the Pokrovska Arc, despite localized advances, have generally taken up defenses, waiting for possible Ukrainian attacks. In the area of Yudaknoy and Kotlin, Russian forces continue to attack, but successes here have been modest so far. Now let's move on to the Seversk direction. Over the past 24 to 48 hours, Russian forces have become more active in this area. First of all, they struck the temporary deployment points of the AFU in the city of Slavyansk, which is a key base for the Ukrainian group operating in the Seversk direction. Many warehouses and infrastructure facilities were reportedly destroyed. Moreover, it is reported that Russian forces were able to improve their positions in the areas of Belagorovka and Verkhnekamenskoye. Ukrainian sources published video footage of another Russian attack in the area. The footage shows the Russian military trying to land infantry at a key point controlling 3 defensive lines. As a result of the offensive, Russian forces captured and secured those positions. According to pro-Russian sources, Russian forces have gained full control of a key stronghold nearby Lohorka over the past 24 hours. The Russians claim that after the fall of this fortified area, Ukrainian forces will not be able to hold their positions in this area and will likely begin retreating to more secure lines in the near future. We see that the turning point in the battle for Seversk occurred several months ago, and now Russian forces are gradually moving further westward. Let us now discuss the situation in the north and in the Kupiansk direction. Today, pro-Ukrainian sources published a video depicting strikes against Russian soldiers and units of the Russian Armed Forces in the small village of Topol, located along the border with Russia. Analyzing this video, it became obvious that this settlement has been completely taken over by Russian troops. Then we move on to the situation in the direction of Sudzha, where many important updates are coming in. Currently, the main fighting is taking place near the settlements of Derina, Nikolaivka, Basavka, Novinka and Sverdlikovka. The fighting is extremely fierce. We shall remind you that a few days ago, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that Russian troops had crossed the border in this area and were advancing deep into Ukrainian territory. Later, it was reported that having realized the gravity of the situation, the Ukrainian command began urgently transferring additional forces to this sector in order to stabilize the front line and prevent further advancement of Russian troops. Pro-Russian sources report that the Ukrainians managed to stabilize the situation, but at the cost of significant losses. To do so, they were forced to use elite special units and the best-trained units of the army, which had suffered heavy losses during the fighting. Nevertheless, according to various sources, the village of Novinka was taken under control by Russian troops. It is a small settlement consisting of only one street and a few buildings, but its strategic importance is due to the adjacent forest area, which can be used by Russian forces to further concentrate troops and prepare offensive operations towards Route 07. The situation in the Sudzha area is becoming increasingly tense, and the situation of Ukrainian troops is deteriorating every day. Russian units continue their offensive on the flanks of the positions occupied by the AFU. The fighting is going on inside Lebedyovka and south of Sverdlikivka, in the direction of Novinkoy. According to unconfirmed reports, Russian troops have already entered the area. Russian sources report that units of the 106th Airborne Division are involved in the fighting, but clarify that the 51st Regiment of the 106th Division is fighting for Lebedyovka, while the 56th Airborne Assault Theodosia Regiment of the 7th Airborne Assault Division is operating in the Novinkoy area. Novinkoy is a small farm consisting of several dozen houses, so its occupation actually means establishing control over this territory. Russian aviation is active in the area, which emphasizes the seriousness of the Russian troops' intentions. The Ukrainian command realizes the strategic importance of this area and is sending reserves to hold each stronghold. The loss of Novinkoy and then Basavka will allow the Russian forces to take under fire control the main supply route of the AFU Sujin grouping, and in case of further advance, to establish full physical control over it. In addition, Russian forces are attacking on the western bank of the Syol River, in the area west of Kurilovka. Despite fierce resistance from the AFU, the Russian army is making tactical advances. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, put likes and have a good day.